Hey guys, Gray here, just doing a quick video to update you all on how my tinnitus is doing, how it's been behaving, because I've really dropped the ball with doing tinnitus videos. My apologies for that. The main reason for that is just, over the past couple of years, I know I keep fucking banging on about it, but yeah, life outside of YouTube has been a tad hectic, we shall say. And it's left very little time for, like what I used to do when I started YouTube, was just add a lot of time to sit in a room and do nothing. You know, and I focused on a lot of things that I wanted to improve, like my tinnitus. I got to sit and go, okay, how's it doing this week? You know, is it doing better than last week and whatever, which is a habit I did gradually stop anyway, because it's not healthy, I think. I think you're better off with your tinnitus to learn to let it go a bit, but yeah. Basically, I've had very little time to sit and be introspective about things like that. Mewing's another one, so I've made very little progress over the past couple of years, but yeah. In terms of my tinnitus, yeah, it's still improving, to be honest. When I actually stop and sit and pay much attention to it, yeah, it's really, really improving. Like, very gradually, very slowly. It is taking its time. It's not improving quickly like it was when I first started to really get a handle on things. But again, life is very, very busy for me. There's a lot of external stresses going on, the kind that I didn't dream about when I first got my bad spike 3 years ago, or however long it was. I mean, I remember when I got that spike, I did have some things going on, to be fair. Like, a week after I got that spike, my dad went into hospital. He had a bunch of surgeries, you know, and I was struggling to try to keep myself together to be there for my family. But other than that, I didn't have much to worry about, to be honest. I got to curl up in a room and cry about having a bad tinnitus spike for like 4 months straight. I didn't have much to worry about. I wasn't working at the time. I was living with my parents and, you know, had very few, and I feel like a bastard saying it, but just I had very few of the day-to-day stresses that most people watching this will tend to have, you know, things that you have to try to learn to juggle while being depressed and anxious about your tinnitus, and it's a very difficult thing to do. And yeah, the past couple of years I've been in that kind of situation. I've had a lot of things going on. I've had certain people who are relying on me for, you know, their well-being. It's been a very, very difficult thing to adjust to for myself. Not that I'm going into too many details, but yeah, it's been rough. And it's left very little time for relaxing as much as I would like. I've been tested a lot, emotionally. There's been a lot of things going on that have really pushed me to my limits, you know, and past them a lot of the time. As a result of that spike that I had, I know where my emotional limits are. I know when I'm like, yeah, I need to stop and take a break, or I need to go sit, calm down, do something else. I've not really had that luxury a lot of the time, and it's why I've struggled so much to keep up with YouTube. It's why I've done fuck all in terms of keeping up with tinnitus videos. It's why I've generally been unproductive and dropping the ball with a lot of things in life that's important to me, and yeah. So, life has been stressful, you know. I think there's 2 points I'm trying to get to there. One is, I'm sorry I haven't done many tinnitus videos. It hasn't been on the cards for me to keep up with. I'm doing my best to get back to it now. And point two is that I'm bloody surprised my ringing hasn't gotten worse. And it's not only not gotten worse, it's improved. It's still improving. Slowly, gradually, but yeah, it's definitely improving. And because I've taken the time off of YouTube recently, the past 2 months, I've finally got to the point where I said, you know what, some of these external stresses, they're out of control. This isn't just I need to learn to cope better, you know, man up and get on with it, or whatever you want to say. You know, they were genuinely fucking up my ability to do some of the things I'd like to be doing. Like YouTube, ideally, I want to be able to turn it into a living, but I've got to treat it like a business and treat it seriously. And it's not something I can do knocking out a session once a month, like I was doing, you know, or having very distracted sessions trying to work on stuff or reply to people, you know, here and there between everything else. It's something that I need to take the time, set up, and work on it properly. And so, like I say, the past 2 months, I've made some really good progress on that front. I'm ecstatic, and it's definitely showing in my health, because, like I say, my tinnitus, it's really improved, noticeably. I think the best thing that sums up how much progress I'm making overall, and it is surprising, but I was walking down the street the other day. I was going and visiting my parents or something like that, and I had a moment where I had to stop, because it was like something clicked off in my head. I'm not sure why, but do any of you, I'll ask because I don't know if it's a symptom that's unique to me. I'm pretty certain it's quite general, but I don't know how many other people notice it. When you got your tinnitus, did you notice the higher frequencies of your hearing sort of dull slightly? You know, like the equivalent of looking at something through cling film, you know? because I certainly did when I got my tinnitus, and my hearing's pretty fine on a standard test. The kind of dulling I'm on about in relation to my hearing with tinnitus is not, oh, I've lost some hearing. It's more like something's misbehaving in the ear, which my personal theory is that you get nervous system dysfunction, the sympathetic nervous system becomes too overactive, the nerves that innervate the muscles in the inner ear become a little, well, dysfunctional, and it causes some slight issues with hearing properly. You know, something's misbehaving and it's dulling the frequency slightly. That's my thought. But yeah, so if any of you have experienced that, I'm certain some of you must have, that went away for like a couple of minutes. It stopped, and it was noticeable enough because it was quiet, there was no cars coming down the road, nothing like that, and it was such a noticeable shift in just the sensations of being me in this body, in this head, you know, it went, and it was like there wasn't that pressure anymore. I could hear crystal clear for the first time in years. Not that there's any major problems with my hearing, but it was like those little higher frequencies come back. And I actually stopped, put my fingers in my ears, I'm doing it now, and I was listening for the ringing, and if it was there, it was so quiet, I couldn't hear it. Kind of like now. Forgive me, just listen out for it. Yeah, I can hear a little a little electrical hiss kind of thing in like the top right of my hearing, and a little pulsating tinnitus sound, like electricity sparking on and off in the bottom left. And yeah, that sparking one is the one that I associated with getting my spike 3 years ago, and yeah, it seems very quiet, actually. Not bad at all. But yeah, the other day it seemed to actually switch off and stop, as if I didn't have tinnitus. I don't know if I experienced genuine silence, because generally I don't really pay too much attention. I've long since conditioned myself to not pay too much attention to my ringing, and it's just not that fascinating a thing to listen to anymore either. But yeah, I'm pretty certain I experienced something close to genuine silence, and that is the first time in, fuck me, how long now? 9 years? Something like that? More or less since I got it. I think so anyway. So yeah, the short summary of that, my ringing is still improving. It's showing signs of moving in the direction of getting towards complete silence. Probably still a long way off, you know. I'm definitely a bit of a hypocrite. As much as I preach relaxation stuff, and as decent at it as I think I am, I need to make more of a priority of it if I want to get rid of the rest of my ringing, which is not a big issue for me. It's that quiet, I don't think about it. The only times I really notice my ringing is when I'm drinking, you know, alcohol. That consistently every time will spike my ringing, which it's not really a problem because some of the prices for a decent bottle of booze around here, Scrooge McDuck couldn't get drunk on them, alright? But still, which is weird, he's not living in London, you figure that would be the place where they're pricey. But anyway, bit of a side story there. But yeah, drinking, that will spike my ringing, but it's always short term, it's never a big deal. Doesn't stop me enjoying a good drink. But yeah, my ringing's still improving. You know, big time, quite significantly recently, and I expect when things get stressful again, they're bound to, life's full of ups and downs. I expect it will probably become a little less predisposed towards going silent, but yeah, it's still improving. I'm still making progress, and it's all down to the relaxation stuff, because as busy as life is, we've all got problems with life. We've all got stresses, we've all got things that are perfectly worth panicking about and stimulating that part of the nervous system and having the fight or flight response. But the big thing is, for our long-term health, we need to learn to stay more in the relaxed state. And that's the trickiest bit for most people. It's the problem I see time and time again with various commenters, various help forums, things like that, is that, yeah, the way to learn to manage tinnitus, for me, my personal outlook, and I think I'm pretty right for most cases, but you need to learn to deal with the things, recognize the things in your life that are causing you stress, that are causing that response, and then you need to learn to not respond like it, which is very hard to do. It's an incredibly big deal to do, and it's why there aren't more cases of spontaneous tinnitus improvements for people. Most people, they tend to get it, and it tends to stick around, you know. And in a lot of cases, it tends to get worse. It doesn't have to, alright? I don't want anyone panicking hearing that. But yeah, there's very good reasons why it doesn't tend to spontaneously improve if you just don't worry about it. And that's because most people, they do not get in the habit of getting more relaxed as time goes on. You know, in life there's always things going on, there's always stresses, there's always more and more stuff. You have to make a big point in this day and age of trying to cut that shit out, of trying to relax, of trying to take the time to calm your nervous system down. It's vital for our long-term health, and it sounds like such a small-time thing as well. I've seen that, you know, on Tinnitus help forums. It seems like such a retarded idea to most, because it seems so small-scale. You know, most people that are suffering from tinnitus, they're suffering from it that bad, and it's that big a thing in their minds, which is understandable. You know, I can relate to that. But it's that big a deal in their minds that they can't accept the idea that there's little things on a day-to-day basis they can do to make it better. They're thinking, oh, I need a doctor to cut bits of me about and fix me or drug me up and make me better. You know, and unfortunately tinnitus doesn't really work like that. It's such a holistic thing, and I fucking hate that word. Makes me sound and look like a hippie, you know, and I walk a fine enough line as it is. But yeah, it's true. Tinnitus is a big thing. There's a lot of factors contributing to it, and no pill or surgery is ever going to completely cover that. So it's just too big a thing. There's no one specific procedure or approach you can use that will deal with it. And that's why I recommend the emotional stuff so much, because it covers a lot of physical factors, more than I can name probably. There's so many different processes that go on in the body by activating either the stress response or letting the more relaxation healing type response kick on. Different wings of the nervous system, that's all it is. The more you can activate the healing one, the better your health will tend to be, and it certainly shows up with tinnitus. And again, mine's still improving. I got more stress going on externally than I've ever had in my life. But because I've generally learned to look after myself reasonably well, you know, it doesn't matter if sometimes the stress gets too much and it really grinds me down. And don't get me wrong, I've had some breakdowns over the past few years. I've gotten drunk 6 times in my entire life, and they were all in the last 2 years. You know, it was a direct correlation of stress and drinking more. But yeah, my ringing's still improving, because fundamentally I know that I've got to look after myself. I know where my emotional limits are. I know when I've got to try to close up and relax. And don't get me wrong, I've fucked up on that front too. You know, I've let those emotional boundaries be stepped over quite a bit. Something I'm working on. But yeah, the big thing is I'm learning to relax. I've learned to relax pretty well with that spike, and I'm still applying that. I'm still taking time to relax, calm down, let the body just have a break. And I think that's what's kept my tinnitus on track, and especially the fact that I've got that in my head so much. This is the most important bit with tinnitus. It's not enough that you just find a few minutes to relax during the day. It'll help, alright? Yoga, meditation, craniosacral therapy, whatever. Pick your poison, or, you know, antidote in this case. They'll all help, but the most important bit by far is that you take that state that you're in while doing those things and learn to stay in it more throughout the rest of the day. You need to learn to stay more in that state where you're activating the healing part of the nervous system rather than the stress part. Because the stress part will break you down. The healing part, you know, parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system, you know, forgive me, I try to simplify things and sometimes it comes out dumb. But yeah, you need to learn to stay more in the parasympathetic state. You need to learn to let things go more. You need to learn to genuinely believe that, yeah, these stresses are probably not going to kill me. They're not worth getting completely worked up over. You need to learn to relax more, and that's what I've done, and it's why my ringing's still improving. You know, it's still getting there. I'm even starting to move in the direction of, like I say, I believe I experienced a moment of complete silence, or close to it. Close enough to not fret the details. And yeah, I believe anyone can do it, if they can learn to relax enough. But take it seriously. Take that stuff seriously. Take your own well-being seriously. Believe that you're worth spending some time relaxing on. Let all the stressy shit go on occasion. And gradually practice staying more and more in that relaxed state, and learn to stay in it as you go about dealing with all the stress in your life. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much tinnitus in a nutshell in my mind. And I'm getting results. Yeah, they're really good. I'm really pleased with my results. I'm amazed it hasn't gotten worse over the past few years. It's only gotten better slowly, gradually. I'm not worried about the pace of it. I'm always moving in the right direction, it seems. So yeah, that's my tinnitus update for the time being. It's still getting there. It's really improving. Like I say, it's only if I drink heavily that I'll notice much of an increase, and it's worth it in that case. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that helps. I hope you guys enjoy hearing about my progress and random thoughts on the subject. Because yeah, my ringing's still improving, and I couldn't be happier. I hope that this update helps inspire some of you to take the relaxation stuff seriously and to give it a try. It's worth it. It doesn't feel natural, I know it. It doesn't feel natural when you're that stressed to try to sit and do nothing. I've got some friends actually, certain people whose names I won't mention, and they can't do it. Even with me there telling them, ordering them to relax, right? As if that would work. But yeah, telling them the reasons, telling them the health benefits, telling them to do it. They still can't do it. They're getting up and they're active, but that's the bit you've got to fight. That's the bit that you've got to try to get over. It doesn't feel natural. But the more you practice relaxing, the better at it you'll get. And when you get to the point where you start to keep hold of that feeling when you're dealing with all the other stuff in life, that's when your tinnitus will really improve. And that's when you'll notice that you're really starting to get a handle on it, and it doesn't seem so scary anymore. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a pleasure to talk to you about this subject again. Any questions, comment below. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. I always do in the end, even if I do take a while. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care till then. Bye.